Wow. I don't know.
That's so funny. Like it's such a because I think I didn't know much about Jim and Tammy before because in the UK we don't really have a televangelism.
I have to start out with kind of a silly question, though. I've become more health conscious as I get older, and I know you've always been. So I see the Diet Coke, which she was also known for, and I really felt for her. Tell me there wasn't actually Diet Coke every time you had to take sips from that Diet Coke.
Oh yes. Oh yes. This movie was like, you're like, okay, this is my get out of jail free card. I'm
Right.
acting. I get to drink Diet Coke all day. No, because
I
I
thought
don't
for
drink a lot
sure
of
you wouldn't
soda.
do it.
No, no, no. I would do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I did it. I did it for
Okay.
my art.
Okay. Well, then it worked and
That's a joke
clearly
for
affected.
everyone.
I asked Andrew this question too. At the end of the day, they were great salespeople. I mean, they had to stand up and convince people to call and make donations and double their pledges at times, and they were constantly selling. What's been the best
Jim
example
was
of?
constantly selling.
That's true. That's true. He was
Yeah.
much more blatant about it for sure.
Yeah.
But what has been the example in your past where you really had to do a sales job and convince someone I deserve this part? Where did you feel like you did the biggest sales pitch?
Wow, I don't know because I've been very fortunate. I haven't
Yeah,
really
you haven't had
had
to.
to fight like, well, the very beginning of my career, absolutely. I was constantly auditioning and all of those things. I think it's just something that I have a difficult time connecting it to like a sales pitch because
Yeah.
sometimes that sounds inauthentic. You know what I mean? Like I feel like someone's selling something, they don't believe it. And
Mhm.
for me, if I felt I was right for a part, I don't really have to sell myself. It's like I just
True.
innately know like this is the right thing and I hope you do too. And if you don't, then it's not the right thing. And I think Tammy was like that too. She'd never really, I think she innately had a very, very deep faith.
Mhm.
She was filled with the grace of God, she was very
Mhm.
spiritual. So I don't feel like she felt like she had to do a pitch for anyone.
Yeah, that's a great point. I am very curious, and I was fascinated to hear that Tammy Sue and Jay, I think it was Tammy Sue that said, or you mentioned in an interview, that no one had ever contacted them, which is stunning to me. You clearly did. What did they think about an award-winning actress playing their mom?
I mean, honestly, I think that they should be the ones to answer that question because, I can just tell you how wonderful that they were to me, and how like it was so important for me to talk to them as I was embarking on this journey. To like the little things that they shared with me was so meaningful, and their friendship that they showed me. I have to tell you, Tammy Sue sings the songs in the credits. In the credit
Mm-hmm.
sequence, she sings "Don't Give Up on the Brink of a Miracle," her mom's song, and it is one for me. It's the most emotional moment in the film. Her
Yep.
voice is like an angel, and it's such a tribute to her mother. And I think both Tammy Sue and Jay Bakker are living their mother's legacy lives on through their work, and that's so beautiful to see.
I mean, isn't that every parent's dream? You're a mom. Isn't that every parent's dream?
I mean, we all try our best.
I know they wrap me, but I wanted to ask you the Jerry Falwell dynamic so fascinating. And Andrew's Jim is clearly nervous about Tammy Faye saying the wrong thing. Was there ever somebody in your industry that really made you nervous that you'd say the wrong thing around them and you found yourself in that same space? Don't mess this up.
No, you know what? I have to just tell you that my go-to is always I'm like around everyone, because sometimes I'll
Mhm.
like make a joke and they're like, that person know it was a joke. You don't do it. I always like sometimes I go over conversations in my mind, but like anyone, it doesn't have to be like, oh, this powerful figure. Sometimes I'm
Right.
like, did they get that I was joking on that? Or did they like, was I too, like, sometimes I go up to Diane Warwick yesterday. I like
Oh.
saw her and I like completely geeked out in front of her. And then afterwards I was like, oh God, I said the wrong thing. I'm so embarrassed. So I think that's just kind of like my go-to.
Well, congratulations. I hope to do the next one in person. Jessica, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Nice talking with you.
There are accents and there are accents. And I can't recall a film where somebody's accent stayed in my head days later. How long did it take, or has it released from your head, this Jim Bakker accent?
Yeah, it was a big part of the character for me, and it was the first thing I started working on because I knew it would be a long road to get to it feeling natural, and not just the accent, which is very, very specific and tricky. This Michigander kind of Midwestern with a slight hint of Southern Baptist minister chucked in occasionally. But then his voice on top of that is very placed, very different to mine. It's much more nasal and higher pitched. And his mouth does incredibly different things to mine. So I knew that would be a long road to make that second nature. So yeah, I worked with a dialect coach that I've worked with forever called Liz Himmelstein, and she's wonderful. And we really zeroed in on it, and it was it was a few months of work.
Yeah, you nailed it. You know, it's interesting. At the end of the day, he's a salesman. You know, all those scenes where he's standing there trying to get people to call and make donations and double donations, and you know, he's in the hole and he's still convincing people to call. Do you recall a time in your career where you had to do the best sales job and really pull out all the stops to convince someone you deserve this part?
That's so funny. Like it's such because I think I didn't know much about Jim and Tammy before because in the UK we don't really have a televangelism, and I think culturally it may be because we are so bad at selling ourselves. Like it's such a it's just a no. It's just like we don't ever talk about ourselves in that way. We are very stiff upper lip. It's kind of culturally just a kind of no to like self-promote. Right. So no, I mean like it's a very interesting thing. Like it was definitely a tricky thing for me to find my way into because it's so kind of like anti instinctual. Sure. But it was fun when I allowed myself to be kind of brazen and shameless in that way and say, I need your money. I need your money. And then, you know, we can be close to Jesus if the money comes. Like, but I think with Jim is he came to that so honestly. Like, I think he really had this deluded kind of misinterpretation of the gospel, of the Bible, of the word prosperity being about material possession, being about material wealth. He was interpreting it through a very modern at the time lens, and he got it wrong. And I think he realized he got it wrong when he finally went to prison and he understood the original Greek translation of prosperity was a very, very different meaning. Like spiritual prosperity is kind of the antithesis of material wealth, material prosperity. If you look at Jesus's life, like he was a vow of poverty. He lived a vow of poverty, and in order to be as close to God as possible, and he hung out with the prostitutes and the thieves and the homeless, and he was and the immigrants and the people who are suffering and struggling. And Jim just got it wrong.
We're all made from this. I was gonna say we're all made from the same dirt. I know they wrap me, but the Jerry Falwell and how he reacts to him with such reverence.
Unfortunately, we do have to just wrap. I'm so sorry.
Oh, I had such a good one. Next junket, Andrew. Next junket.